Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Radio Wall Street. The Money Man Report is on the air. We're broadcasting to the world on iHeartRadio and to beautiful and sunny South Florida, our home, on 880 AM, The Biz.
Behind the scene, there is so much things going on. Okay, the market. What is your opinion, and why is that doing that? 1%? What is it?
Why is it?
Why is it
anybody
correcting?
so nervy as to sell
Yes.
stocks when you want them to go up?
Yes.
Where does anybody get the nerve to do that? Well, let me tell you what actually moves the market and why I think this could be a one-day wonder, and we could go right back to rallying. But at some point, and possibly now, and I have a lot of little indicators that are suggesting to me that this could be finally a little bit of a correction. Now, what's going to happen is that you will know that it's happening because there is going to be a concert of screaming girls on television.
Why it has to be girls? There's some men screaming too.
Yes, they'll be doing it too, but that's how they program it on the financial TV. They know what people love, that people love to see.
Well, I can hear Rick Santelli screaming.
All right, well, that's okay. So, but anyway, that's true, and you've spent a lot of time behind the scenes there, and you know what's going on. They're not really screaming, they're really doing their hair and all of that. But they love what they're doing, and they're not trying to they're trying to make a fun, emotional program that feels like a sporting event. And in order to do that, they have to really care, and they have to emphasize the drama of every moment. But most of the people who are commenting, some of them are very, very smart. They're all very articulate and smart, but some of them haven't got a clue really about how to read what's really going on in the stock market. Some of them are terrific, but if you don't really know, then you can't tell which one it is. So you tend to believe the one who was the most confident and the most articulate, rather than necessarily, and how do you get by that? What do you do about that? Because here's what's going to, you're exactly right. I'm going to get to that question in 1 second, but I just want to pose the question a little further, because what's going to happen now is, as this little correction develops, if it does go beyond even this afternoon, there's going to be a concert of screaming girls talking about how it's topping and how it's rolling over, and the Russell 2000 small caps have broken through their line, and all these different things that people are going to use. And they're going to be talking about the fact that that wealth has moved ahead and the stock market's gone too far, and they don't see the profits, and they don't see, and they're going to say that it's now the bear market, this is the top, and they're going to have all kinds of convincing and articulate evidence for why that's true. Let me be the lone voice that tells you. We've been doing this for many years. Many of you have been with us on the radio in various venues, CBS Radio and all over the place, for more than 20 years. Many of you have taken the advice that Alicia is about to give you about how do you tell who knows what they're doing and who doesn't. But the accuracy, you can determine for yourself. I'm not going to make any claims of accuracy, and I could be totally wrong right now. But this is not, I will tell you this, write it down. The guy on the Money Man Report, Dan, said, this is not the top. This is not a major top. It is not the end of the bull market. It could be a painful correction, or it could be a little one, but it's definitely not the top, and we definitely are going higher. And if you write that down, and when I said it and what was going on, then you will have the beginning of the record that Alicia is about to tell you that you need. How do you tell, Alicia, who really knows? You've been booking talent on our show for many years. We assigned an intern to do many years ago exactly what you're going to tell
Like
them.
right now, you're going to go to who actually on the list
How
who's
do you know? Who knows what they're doing?
write down their comments, whoever that you look forward
Make
to.
a spreadsheet.
Make a spreadsheet.
Start
and
putting them down day by day
and
with a little
and
comment
follow.
on what was going on, what did they say, and then you can keep going back over it and see what actually happened. And that's how we got to know a lot about. That's how you get better. You check and see these theories.
And for 10 years minimum, you follow them, and actually, that's the person that
But
you
even
need to.
even in the first
to
year
do.
or so, you're going to start to get infinitely better at understanding not only who has an idea, but what methods seem to work at which times.
Now, let's go back to the investor. How should the investor work this market this
Okay.
time?
Well, first you got to understand what's really been going on for the last several years, because this market, the first mistake people make when I was a kid, and I was one of a couple of kids that were allowed to come sneak in on the back door at the New York Stock Exchange and hang around on the floor, and I fell in love with the place, and I used to play hooky, and I spent much of my young life there on the floor. And when I was about 14, 15, one of the specialists that I used to run errands for and stuff liked me, and he pulled me aside and he said, I'm going to explain to you what everybody does wrong here. Why do you think I'm a specialist? You know what a specialist does? He handles a post where he knows a couple of stocks, and all the trades of those couple of stocks go through him. And he said, if you will understand what this place really is, it's about profit, companies making a profit, doing things people care about, making a profit. Now, what everybody watches is what each other do. They're all watching the prices of the stocks. They think that the whole game is about the prices of the stocks, and that's why they all end up losing money. What you have to watch instead is the profits of the companies. These companies are here to make a profit. And once you get thinking in years, the value of the company is 100% correlated to how much profit that company is going to make over the future. That's all that matters. So if you watch the profits, then you can see something that makes sense. If you watch what the people do, remember how crazy they all are. I'll continue this right after this little break. Stay with us. You're listening to the Money Man Report on Radio Wall Street. Welcome back to Radio Wall Street. Just to finish up what I was talking about, Mr. Bob, that's all I knew about that specialist on the New York Stock Exchange when I was 15 years old. He was Mr. Bob, and he told me focus on how much money the companies are making. The reason I'm a specialist is because I know you can only know about a few companies, not 500, maybe 40. I follow 3, but I know more about them than anybody because I followed them for years and years and years, and that's why I have the edge. And I don't watch what the crowd's doing. They haven't got a clue. Remember, those are the people that are at war with each other, killing each other's babies. Every bit of that is in every human being. They don't know. Don't watch the people. Don't watch the chart. Don't watch the price. Watch how much profit the company makes. Then you will understand. I have much more to say on this, but I'm going straight to the caller line. And by the way, if you want to join in, we've got room to take your calls today, 305-541-2350. We're going right to
We have a special treat.
the guest line right now.
Yes, it's Asa, who's top tier special,
Asa,
bringing
a
us.
member of our top tier, and one of the few times he has the time to come on the radio, a very busy and successful guy. Good morning, Asa.
Good morning, Dan. Hi, Alicia.
Good morning, Asa.
So, what do I owe this pleasure? Alicia knew you were going to call, and she's holding a name up here. What you got?
Well, you're the money man, and I was looking at a stock actually yesterday, and came up with an idea, and I wanted to run it by you and see what you thought.
Yes.
The company is Emerge Energy Services. It's M as in Mary, E, S as in
This is a miner of sand for fracking, for horizontal
sand,
drilling.
For fracking, right.
Yes.
They do some fuel processing and some distribution too. I don't know whether you brought it up. I know it's a stock that Louis Navellier likes, and I was taking a look at it yesterday, and I'm looking at it right now. It's selling for about $108 a share. They just had, in the first quarter, their sales rose 80% and their earnings rose about 87%. So they had a really great first quarter. And so I was looking to buy the stock, but I looked at the options first, and the stock's selling right now for about $108 a share. But if you look at the August puts, the one
before you do this, because people that are listening to us, Asa is not a day trader. He doesn't sit in front of the computer all the time. In fact, he's got a major career, and he's busy. So when you're talking about this kind of a detailed thing, you really are a long-term investor, as much as anyone listening to us. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when you start out by talking about something that's a relatively short-term move, why are you looking at that? Because a lot of people are saying, well, this guy's some kid, some day trader. He went to some dopey school that tells you you're not going to have to drive a cab anymore and all that. That's not what you are at all. You are a real businessman, successful businessman who really knows what he's doing. He's been investing forever. And you like to take it slow and make slow decisions. Would you agree that characterizes you?
Yes, but as with anybody else, you also have those short-term impulses that you need to satisfy. And this is one way to make money, and it's also a little bit more aggressive. So it kind of satisfies that need. I want this.
And by the way, EMES in Hebrew means truth, by the way.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So anyway, the company is doing really well. It's in the area that you've been talking about, and I think is an area that as an investor I want to be involved in.
Yes.
So here's a company that's doing well. I want to own the stock. The market's kind of iffy right now. I'm not sure whether it's what it's going to do. It's obviously down pretty good today and was down yesterday.
Yes.
But EMES is doing pretty well. So I want to own the stock. I'm a little concerned about whether it might go down. So you came up with a trade a few weeks ago, and I don't even remember. It might have been on Gilead. I'm not sure, where you said, rather than buying the stock, let's take a look at selling puts, which means that if the stock goes down, the stock might be put to you, but you get the stock and you get money for the puts too. I don't want to be too but so I looked at this, and if you look at the
and by the way, the stock is bucking the trend today.
It is.
Yes, and one of the reasons is it could go down on any given day. But explain what it is about Fraxan. Well, when we come back, explain why Fraxan feels like such a conservative and safe investment, even though it doesn't have the confirmation of being so popular yet. But explain why you feel that this is a very safe area and one you want to be involved in. We're going to do that on the other side. Fortunate to have Asa on with us, a member of our
He has
top
a
tier,
wonderful
I'm proud to
radio
say.
voice, isn't he?
Yeah, he really does. I'd like to give him my script and let him just come on and do it every day. All right, we're going to be here with Asa right after this break. Welcome back to Radio Wall Street. This is the Money Man Report. On the VIP line is Asa, and I'm keeping you as anonymous as you want to be. I would be thrilled to let people get to know who you are and have you a frequent visitor here. Are you wanting to stay anonymous or what?
We'll stay anonymous for the time being.
Okay, cool. But this makes you much more interesting than anybody else on the program. Okay, so what is it about Emerge Energy Services, even though it's not on the beaten path and nobody really knows about it? What is it about that company that makes you feel that even in the face of a stock market that's been running up and in the face of a correction, why do you have a great deal of certainty that this company is going to make a lot of money and that its stock will eventually reflect that?
Well, you know better than I do about that, but from my point of view, the oil and gas business is booming, and the reason it's booming is because of fracturing. And Emerge Energy provides what's called silica sand, which is one of the highest grade sands that they use, and it satisfies all the strict requirements that everybody has for this stuff. So they're going to keep fracturing. All this company does is give them the sand that allows them to fracture. So
and by the way, all the companies who are actually in the business of mining that oil are finding that the more sand they use, the higher production they get. And so not only are more and more companies doing this, but the ones who do it are using more and more sand.
Yes, correct. And I made a mistake before. Let me correct, because I said this is a little bit more aggressive. As I look at this kind of trade, I think this is actually safer than just buying the stock. Because if I buy the stock, I don't know what it's going to do. And by selling a put and not buying the stock, if the stock goes down and the stock's put to me, I get it at a cheaper price than if I went and bought the stock today.
And actually, I'm going to use this stock on the Inner Circle tomorrow because I see a really interesting, my three-part sequence that I developed specifically for this time and this place when the stock market had a lot of correcting to do and when one of the main areas of interest were the horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing industries. And what I'm seeing, and I know you've played around with this, so I know you know it. I don't want to sound like you don't know it and I'm telling it to you, talking to the audience, but you can make about a 20% upfront payment by selling these options to the people who are wanting to speculate, because most people think that they should be buying these options because it gives them leverage and they're speculating. You can make a 20% upfront payment, give yourself a very, very broad safe area, and you're talking about for 6 months, so that's a very big return, and still leave yourself room to make another 10 or 15% over 6 months on this thing, locking in some unbelievable profits that you don't deserve for buying a company that's that safe.
Yeah, and this type of opportunity does not come around very often. I don't know why this happens, but it doesn't happen often where you get this kind of premium or that kind of premium that's available to give you that type of return with a pretty safe investment.
And the reason is because I can tell you why it's happening. People think that if they haven't heard of something, it's more risky than if they know about it. And so they pay more for companies that they know all about, like Exxon and Procter & Gamble. And if they've never heard of it, they think that makes it risky, and therefore they don't want it. So the companies that the people never heard of sell at a huge discount, and then they get these very massive premiums, even at a time of very low volatility. And you were smart enough to identify this amazingly good opportunity.
Yeah, and for those of you, for your viewers or listeners who are interested in income, this stock also pays a 4.5% dividend.
And we were just talking about another 20% in it for a half a year.
Right.
That's going to be an income that you lock in. You get paid that now. And that stock doesn't have much room to go down because of their exploding growth. They can correct, however. We should be very clear about that.
Yeah, and let me ask you a question, Dan, because you're talking about doing the options out 6 months.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
I
was just looking at
I know that.
August.
Yes, you were just saying for a month I can just sell a put and collect several percent, which would be almost as much as people make. It would be as much as people make on the stock, and I don't even have to own the stock.
Exactly.
And if I buy the stock, I'm going to buy it at a price way lower than it is now.
Exactly. Yeah, you can probably get $6 or $7 for the option, which means if you get the stock put to you, you're paying $100 as opposed to $106 or $107.
Well, I know everybody would love for this to go on, but we got to stop it right here. Asa, thank you so much for being part of the show.
Beautiful report.
Please come on back again, and I'm going to expand what he did on the Inner Circle, which you can find out how to be part of our Inner Circle by going to www.themoneyman.com. There's a special deal on there, $2 for 2 weeks. Should they do it, Asa?
Absolutely.
Will it pay for itself? Does it pay for itself?
It pays for itself multiple times over.
Asa, thank you so much for being with us. And folks, the art experience, I think, is next, although I see no evidence
with James,
of any artists around.
With James Eccles.
Oh, James. Okay, well, we'll be back right after this break. Please stay with us. There they come.